Hey, this is Carlos Cavallo. Welcome back to datingadviceguru.com's podcast of the week. It's your weekly dose of that which you must know. And that is, of course, how to open a man's heart. Let me ask you a question. This is going to be a little bit controversial. I know this podcast, and it's just going to definitely raise some issues and concerns with some people, but I had to talk about it. And today, I'm going to talk about 5 signs that a married man is in love with you. I mean, how do you know if a married man is in love with you? Have you ever had that happen to you? Well, it does happen to a lot of women. And it also happens to women who, of course, fall for a married guy. I mean, it's taboo. And it's not for the faint of heart. It's when a guy who's already married starts to show interest in you. Well, let's delve into this today. But I also want to let you know, you got to stick around to the end, because I'm also going to clip in and talk a little bit about some of my trash talk this week. I want to share with you a little bit about Taylor Swift and stalker relationships. Yeah, it's going to get a little crazy here, but let's get on with today's podcast. See, it's when a guy he's already married and he starts to show interest in you, and at the same time, you're probably, well, should I say it, kind of hoping for a little bit of that interest? Yeah, I know. It isn't what you want at the start. It's not that you want a married guy to show this interest, but it's flattering, isn't it? And you've got that interest now, and it feels pretty good, right? But you also might not welcome it. You know it's messing around in a place you don't want to go, like when a married coworker starts to show interest, right? I mean, think about it. You spend upwards of 8 hours with some of the people you work with, and usually less with your own family during the week. It can get very intimate there. I have a close relative, who will not be named here, who was once seeing a married guy, ironically, right after she got divorced from a husband who, well, he had cheated on her. So go figure, right? The irony just never ends. So whatever the situation may be for you, you now have a situation to deal with. So how do you handle the possible signs a married man is in love with you? Well, let's take a look, starting with number 1. Sign number 1, of course, a married guy is falling for you. He hides the band. You know, that little gold or silver ring he normally has on his left hand. You might see it catching the glint of the sun in a few of his social media pictures, or when he's at certain places with her. But when he's able to just hang out with you, for whatever reason, that ring just keeps disappearing. You might even see that telltale line on his finger, that slight tan line, or that slightly discolored area. Well, of course, he's going to feel guilty and a little weird about this attraction, as you probably do. So taking that visual reminder out of the picture is a way to alleviate some of that feeling he has. And the ring makes him feel like there's an invisible tentacle of wife there watching him. Let's be clear here, though. He's not necessarily going to act on this feeling. If his marriage isn't a happy one, well, sure, it could happen. But most likely he's just looking to flirt and play with that kind of romantic energy every once in a while. We all want to feel desired. And it's probably been years since he felt that initial thrill of new attraction with a woman. Married women do this sort of thing all the time. I should know. I used to like to flirt with them too. When the wedding ring disappears, it lets him play with the notion that he is free to flirt. It all comes down to whether or not his flirting will be acted on when the time comes, of course. Which brings us to sign number 2. Married dude is flirting. He gets closer. Body language is inescapable. When we're into somebody, we definitely act differently than we do when we're just friends with them. You feel that magnetic pull of wanting to get closer to that person on the chance that you might come in contact with them. Feel that static charge of skin on skin. One of the signs that a married man is in love with you is the physical contact he tries to have with you. If you're out and about, he'll make it a point to be near you, often intruding on your personal bubble. If you ever find yourself excited by the sudden change in distance to him, chances are he moved closer intentionally. When he talks to you, he'll make it a point to touch your arm or shoulder. Most guys will avoid the hand. He won't touch your hand because that's a little too intimate too soon. Well, he probably has a secret crush on you and probably wants to know if he actually does have a chance with you, whether or not he's going to act on it. Remember that the body works on a different frequency than the mind, so His subconscious desire for you will act out with his body language. You'll also see him mirroring your body language, facing you, pointing his hips towards you, leaning in, etc. The one thing you can be sure of is that his body is keeping the score, and it will show if he's falling in love with you by how he lets these tells out. Sign number 3, married dude wants you, he starts unloading. Now the reality is that many people, both men and women, in a relationship or marriage are not getting their needs met, their emotional needs met, simply due to the fact that they are not working on their communication, and they have no idea how to foster that kind of real-world intimacy. Yes, ladies, this means you too. Women relate easily to women and men to men. Okay? If a married guy is falling in love with you, especially if he wants to act on it, he's very aware that his feelings aren't something to be proud of. He is not going to be proud of that. Quite the opposite. But he will also feel the pull of emotions when he's near you. He wants to start opening up to you and telling you what's going on with him emotionally. Men have a habit of being vulnerable to women this way as a signal to her that she's special to him. He'll also start complaining about his wife in detail. Number 1, to get sympathy, and number 2, to see if you're also going to move in to take over for her. Yeah, thus showing your interest in him. He'll tell you that the marriage is dead, sexless, over, or a million other things. He'll tell you about his past, his desires, his plans, all in hopes that you'll fall in love with his potential. But you have to be wary that he will not verbalize that he's a married man falling in love with you. He'll skirt around that completely to see if the interest from you is there first. Sign number 4, married dude wants you, the monkey starts to dance. Men live to please women. You've probably heard me say this before. I say it a lot. And this is a fact that most women are not taught these days. I was very surprised to find that moms are rarely explaining to their daughters about how men work, at least in any kind of positive way. This is something that has been done countless centuries before us, but it's not happening now. And now that it's not happening, women are having a tough time, a really tough time, understanding men. I guess that's where I fit in, right? This is the age of the Carlos. So let me be very clear with you that men do live to make women happy. It's a priority for us. It's hard-coded in our wiring. Even more for men who are the true gentleman type. When a guy starts acting like a dancing monkey to impress you and to make you happy, there's a good chance this married guy is in love with you and looking to act on it. When he starts checking in with you to see if you're okay, he's starting to fall for you. When he asks if something is wrong or if anything's bothering you, that's another clue. When a guy puts in effort to be polite and he works to please you, he might also start doing this next sign. Sign number 5, that married dude wants you, he goes out of his way. When he realizes he's interested in you and he might be falling in love with you, he's going to start making it a point to go out of his way for you. But what does this mean to you exactly? Well, he's trying to do a few things here. First, he's trying to please you. We already talked about that one. He's trying to demonstrate his value as a mate. Well, all animals on the planet do this. He's trying to look good in front of you. He wants you to see him in the best possible light. And he makes excuses to talk to you and see you. Since he can't ask you out, he'll do his best to find ways to get time with you. Now, some of the indicators you might catch that he's doing this are he's going to dress nicer when he's around you. He's wearing cologne, or he just smells good or better than he usually does. Or he'll also preen and adjust his appearance to maximize it for you, constantly straightening his clothes. He'll dress a little nicer. You get the idea, right? The one clincher, the all-time granddaddy when it comes to signs that he's starting to fall for you, though, is when you can tell he's starting to get jealous of other guys. He knows he's falling for you, but he really can't show it. And he'll be threatened by any guys that do show interest in you. He may even try to convince you to break up with your guy for reasons that sound a little bit, weak. Maybe pointing out flaws that just don't sound very good or even accurate. Look, I'll be straight up with you. Don't court married men. Don't get involved with them. Let these guys pull some other unsuspecting woman into their fly trap of discontent. Yes, I just said that, the fly trap of discontent. If he's really not getting any sex or good times from his wife, getting less from women outside his marriage will actually give him more incentive to do the right thing and leave his marriage, if that's what he's intending to do. But don't get suckered into it yourself. And if you want to know some more of these signals that men throw off, and we throw off quite a few, most women just don't know how to read them, of course, you need to know how to read his signals. Read the signs. Read what he's sending you, these messages that are under the radar. Go on over to datingadviceguru.com/read his signals. That's datingadviceguru.com/read his signals, where you're going to get some more juicy good info on how to read men the right way. And I got a little bonus for you today. I want to talk really quick about something that came up in the news, but it's still going to be relevant no matter what decade you're listening to this in. And that is Taylor Swift's stalker. She actually has her very own stalker. I just wanted to welcome her to the club. Of course, all celebrities get this sort of weird, creepy attention, but apparently she's had a stalker for the last 2 years or so, and his name is Eric Swarbrick. He's been threatening some pretty horrific things, starting with his desire to rape and kill her, and in the same sentence declares himself her soulmate. Yeah, weird, right? Well, let me tell you, that's some freaky stuff up front. I'll admit that right away. But it gets worse when he starts saying things that, this is actually a quote, "I have learned to absolutely repress the metaphorical monster in me, but very soon I will become completely responsible for myself." Strange thing to say. I thought he would say irresponsible for himself, but what logical conclusion is there other than death? Geez, dude, lighten up. And apparently these letters and messages have been getting even more creepy and scary for her over the last few months. And she's got a restraining order and all that. And of course, we know stalking ain't no joke. But let me give you something that might help you. A few of the signals that you might have in potential stalker's behavior that you can watch out for in a guy that you might be dating. Look for these things. First of all, he's too intense. When he sets his sights on you, he's made a decision that you're the one he wants, at least for now. Stalkers hold strong eye contact in a way that can feel very overwhelming. He stops by unannounced. His stopping by unannounced behavior is one that makes women the most nervous. You feel confused, slightly flattered, but you also feel nervous because deep down your instincts are telling you this is weirdo behavior. Number 3 is he knows more about you than you told him. Yeah, these creepy guys make it their mission to get as much information on a person as possible. Stalkers will ask anyone they know or meet for details about you once they've become fixated on you. And number 4, they react from a creepy kind of aggression. If you make them angry, jealous, or threatened, they go into abandonment mode that can be really terrifying. As always, watch out for guys that trip up your instincts, that set off your alarms. Trust your gut and always keep an eye out for this kind of uneven behavior from a guy, okay? You got to stay safe. That's the most important thing to me and to you. Hey, this is Carlos Cavallo with your public service message for the day. Watch out for those creepy stalkers. And again, go on over to datingadviceguru.com/read his signals to really understand how to really understand what a man is sending you as far as the signals he's giving off. All right, it's important, and this is, by the way, one of the most understood, I was about to say, I don't know, misunderstood, don't understand it, subjects about men. All right, before I fumble any more words, this is Carlos Cavallo from datingadviceguru.com. As always, live and love with passion.
datingadviceguru.com, the Dating Advice Guru podcast and YouTube content, and all content herein is copyright Morpheus Productions, LLC. Feel free to contact Carlos at www.datingadviceguru.com, on the forum, or click the Ask Carlos link on the site. We welcome your comments and questions.